Welcome to a brand new episode of CNB. I am Siddharth Vinayak Patnankar. On the show today, as always, we bring you a whole lot of excitement. Let's dive right into it. As you can see, we continue to bring you a mixed bag when it comes to stepping out, getting you the latest, but still continuing to work from home. So, our top story today is an exciting one, like I said. It's a new car that's come into the market, one that's tinged with controversy because of its mother brand, or rather the country of its mother brand. But we are not into those political controversies here on CNB. We just care about the product. So this is my review of the new MG Hector Plus. We just went past the 1-year anniversary of the MG Hector launching in India. A lot has changed since then. The market continued its journey southwards, but the Hector still sold 24,220 units till the end of June 2020. MG launched its second car, the ZS EV, in India, and then also dazzled consumers with an awesome display at the Auto Expo. And yes, it is now dealing with the COVID crisis like everyone else, as also the recent backlash against the country of its parent company, China's SAIC. But even before all of that could happen, even before the Hector made its official debut or got its market launch here in India, we always knew there was going to be a second model on the Hector model line. At the time, we called it the 7-seater. Officially, it's known as the Hector Plus. Yes, it too made its public debut at the Auto Expo and has created some anticipation since. The car was to have launched in April, but that was all delayed thanks to the coronavirus pandemic and its resultant and ongoing crisis, ironically also caused by the same aforementioned country. But oh well. Now, we showed you this car at the Auto Expo, and at the time you got a chance to see what it looks like, and there are some very obvious differences in terms of especially the face of the Plus versus the Hector. The big difference, that front grille. I mean, this is completely finished in black, looks very classy, a little bit more upmarket. That one's got a whole lot of chrome on it. You've also got the very different signature to the DRL, the daytime running lights. This is a wider strip and it's got two elements down below. It's not just that strip. On the Hector, you see that it's just the horizontal strip. It's a lot slimmer. The headlamp housing also extremely different, and again gives the car its own very distinct personality. Straight away looks very different to the Hector, as does the bumper. This is a lot chunkier and meatier, so you can tell from the face straight away that there is something different or new about this car. Now the Hector Plus is 65 millimeters longer than the regular Hector. Doesn't sound like a lot, because it's not. And I must tell you, another surprise maybe for you, the wheelbase, 2750 mm on both cars. It's identical, which means that it's really just the overhangs where on the bumpers especially, that you get the little bit of the extra length. And so it's not really a stretched version then of the regular Hector. In a way, that's not a bad thing, because it means that it doesn't really compromise too much on the drive dynamics by stretching the car. But yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, because with the 3 rows, you'd expect it to be a lot longer, but it's not. Now, I remember when this car came out, there was a lot of criticism. I myself was one of those people who said it should have had bigger wheels to occupy those huge wheel arches. 17 inches, they do look a tad small on this. So again, on the Plus, it may have been a plus to have 18 inches, dare I say 19 inches, because not just from a styling perspective, but also to create that difference. It would have made this car look a little bigger, a little more robust, and really driven home the point about being Plus. Bit of a miss. With the same wheels and wheelbase as well as suspension, does it mean the Hector Plus will still feel the same on the road as its sibling? So the Hector Plus will go up against the likes of the XUV 500, the upcoming Gravitas from Tata Motors, no doubt. But interestingly, MG is pitching it slightly differently. It's actually taking it up against the INNOVA CRYSTA. Surprising? Yeah, maybe. But the point there is that even though that's an MPV and not an SUV like this one claims to be, the pitch is simple. Better value, more plush, and still the comfort of having those 3 rows, the captain's seat in the second row, and all of that. And so that could be an interesting argument. Nobody's tried that before. You know, offering the SUV swag with the 3 rows and better value than the INNOVA CRYSTA. Might be interesting to see how that plays out. So mechanically, there's nothing different between these two cars. I mean, the entire setup remains the same. It's the same suspension, the same powertrains, and yet, despite having the same wheelbase, which means it doesn't really affect drive dynamics that much, the same kind of wheels, this car feels plusher. Now, there's 2 reasons for that. One is that, of course, this is the Plus. You want it to have a slightly more luxurious plush feel, and so the suspension tuning, I suspect, has been swayed towards that. The other thing is, remember, there was a lot of feedback that MG got at the time when the Hector first came to the market last year about the ride quality not being great, not being good enough for Indian conditions, and I think some of that feedback has gone right back into the vehicle. And so what we're seeing now with the newer cars is that it's a lot more supple. Of course, the Fiat-derived diesel powertrain and the manual 6-speed gearbox, that combo to me has always been the pick of the pack. And so from that perspective, I think the car does quite well. A reminder of the powertrain options on the Hector family. So the 5 and the 6-seater, that's the Hector and the Hector Plus, share the same tech specs exactly, of course. Premium looks, decent road presence, and the upside of not having been stretched is it's still easy to drive. Like the Hector, the car gets front and rear disc brakes. Also like it, the car has traction control, electronic brake force distribution or EBD, anti-lock brakes or ABS, a tire pressure monitoring system, dual airbags, ISOFIX child seat anchors, and an electronic parking brake, electronic stability control or ESC, and hill hold control as standard. The top spec also gets a 360 camera view and 6 airbags. On the inside, the car's upper specs get the large iSmart touchscreen interface and connected car capabilities, powered by its internet-enabled embedded SIM. And then there's the virtual assistant voice commands. The cabin appears plush and the dash is dual tone with a padded faux leather element added onto it. This makes the car look more high-end than the Hector and also different from it. The second row with its captain seats is comfy, but what about that all-important third row? So the all-important third row, well, I'll tell you what, as all third rows go, this one isn't great either. I mean, none of them really are. Problems with the seat height, the lack of under-thigh support, the fact that my knees are pointing skywards, and of course it's a little bit cramped. So, all right for little kids, and frankly even for adults for very short distances, very short, it'll be all right. But the upside, that you don't really have a very bouncy feel back here, so that's good. The ride comfort back here is better than I thought it would be. And then you've got the few little things that have been thrown in, like the cup holders, the USB charging point back here, and also your own little fan control back here for the vents in the third row. So that's dedicated to the third row. You can turn them on and turn up the fan or turn it down, which gives you a much better sense of comfort and airiness back here. That's nicely done. The MG Hector Plus has 8 variants, unlike the Hector that has 11. Prices are approximately 60,000 rupees higher across most of those variants. The Plus is not available in the entry or mid variants of the mild hybrid petrol. The diesel is available across all 4 variants though. The company has said that these prices that you see are introductory and will go up in a month by about 50,000 rupees. MG will not have it easy in the coming days, especially if the government continues to put pressure on imports from China. But that being said, the company's prospects remain robust as the brand does have some aggressive plans in the pipeline. For now, the Hector Plus is all set to take on the Toyota INNOVA CRYSTA, Mahindra XUV 500 and the Tata Gravitas when it arrives. Welcome back. Now the Mercedes-Benz GLS has just driven in and we have all the details on what's cool about the car.
It has been barely a month since the new generation Mercedes-Benz GLS was launched in India, with prices starting at 99,90,000 rupees. This is the third generation model of Mercedes' flagship SUV, and it will be assembled at the company's plant in Chakan, Pune. Now, we already drove the GLS in USA last year, and should you want to watch our extensive review, search for it on Car and Bike's YouTube channel. The Mercedes-Benz GLS is a massive mountain of an SUV. It is definitely bigger than its predecessor and gets significant design updates as well. Also, its hulking stance and a huge footprint makes it command immediate attention on the roads. But let's not get into the nitty-gritty of design and size. Let's dive right into the cabin of the car and see what all creature comforts and features it has to offer. The design cues inside the cabin are inspired by its sibling, the GLE. And apart from the well-crafted, beautifully appointed interior, the first thing that you see are the two massive 12.3-inch displays which are placed together and come across as one single pane of glass, acting as the instrument console and the touchscreen infotainment system. Mercedes-Benz introduced its MBUX system in India on the GLC facelift SUV, and now most new Mercedes cars and SUVs have the company's Mercedes Me connectivity system as well, along with a voice assistant to whom you can ask questions and navigate to points of interest. The MBUX system offers convenience and connectivity along with a bunch of other features and services. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
I need a coffee.
Here is what I found. Which one should I select?
Why don't we go to Coffee to Cocktails bar?
What do you want to do now?
Navigate.
Do you want to start route guidance or modify the current route guidance?
Start route guidance.
Calculating route. Please proceed to the highlighted route.
Thank you. So, there you go. If you're feeling hungry or need to fill up, then you could ask your car to direct you to the nearest restaurant or petrol pump in a similar manner. In all probability, this is going to be a car where the owner will spend his maximum time at the rear, in the middle row. And in order to truly call itself the S-class of SUVs, the middle row needs to be the most luxurious place in the cabin. Oh, and in case you or someone elderly feels that the SUV is too high off the ground, you could lower the suspension and make it easier for people to step in or step out. The middle seats in the Mercedes-Benz GLS are very plush and comfortable. So, should you want, you can just pull down this here and turn it into an armrest, complete with this storage space here and a wireless charging tray for your mobile phone. Apart from that, after a long hard day of work, you can just come and sit here, put on some good music, soak in the sound from the 13 speaker Burmester audio system and catch a few winks. The GLS gets ambient lighting in 64 colors. And if you're of those kinds who like to stay on their phones at all times, the SUV gets a total of 11 Type-C USB ports inside the cabin. But in order to use them, you will need some sort of an adapter. Plus, the rear seat occupants can get the optional rear seat entertainment package fitted on their SUVs and stay entertained on the move. And if you want to see the sky, the GLS offers a massive panoramic sunroof as well. Only the driver and the co-passenger get seat massage functions with multiple settings so that they stay refreshed on a long drive. The middle row seats on the GLS can be moved fore and aft within a range of 100 millimeters, and the front passenger seat, it can itself be moved from the rear by the press of a button. Also, the third row seats themselves can be folded down electrically. Speaking of the third row, you do get that plush feeling, but space is definitely at a premium. The seats themselves are very comfortable, and it's not as if you don't get any features here. You have these AC vents for your comfort. Apart from that, you have a dedicated cup holder and you get two C-type USB ports to charge your mobile phones and gadgets. The Mercedes-Benz GLS looks big, bold and imposing, especially on the move. It occupies quite a bit of tarmac, and you will see this SUV coming at you from a mile away in your rearview mirror. Needless to say, this SUV can transport up to 5 adults and 2 children or a pet in utmost comfort. Be it the right quality of the GLS itself or the plethora of creature comfort it has to offer, be it optional or standard. All things put together, the Mercedes-Benz GLS definitely lives up to its moniker of being called the S-Class of SUVs.
Time for me to say goodbye, but not before I tell you that next week I will be back with a whole lot more excitement. In the meanwhile, please wear your masks, please wear your helmets, please wear your seat belts, and stay safe.